have the most important topic. We call it OEL, occupational exposure limits. Any one of you is familiar, if you have a project in a confined space, what is the permissible exposure limit of H2S? Permissible exposure limit of H2S. Yes, please. Like Mr. Muhammad mentioned, 0. Okay. 0 is ideal, by the way. That is, whenever we have hot work, the moment our challenge is to ensure 0% LEL, lower explosive limit, that means 0 ppm of H2S, 0 ppm of carbon monoxide, 0. So this is ideal actually, and no other toxic fumes or sort of chemicals here. Now, what is the permissible exposure limit of carbon monoxide? CO we call it. Any one of you have an idea? Carbon monoxide, ideal is 0 ppm for sure, but I'm talking about permissible exposure limit. Let me create a scenario here. Consider you have a cold work in a confined space. It's not a hot work, it's a cold work, because there isn't any chance of ignition source. So you got the cold work permit and CSC permit. Now the point is, below what ppm of carbon monoxide you will allow your worker to work for 8 hours? And below what ppm of H2S you will allow your workers to work for 8 hours? And same way LEL, up to what percentage you will allow your worker to work without SCABA, without breathing apparatus? And same way, what would be the exposure limit for H2S, the minimum oxygen level? At least these 4 are important to understand. There are several other toxic elements, but these 4 have zero tolerance policy. Surely we have to know about what is the oxygen level, what is the ppm of H2S or carbon monoxide, and LEL. Any one of you, please, occupational exposure limits we are talking about. Take an example of your internal procedures, like in SADARA, how you are proceeding with that. Or if you have some understanding about Aramco regulations, you can give example of that, or Royal Commission of Saudi Electricity, or even from OSHA USA. It's up to you. How are you defined? Because you have a cold work and it's a confined space. Yes, please. Let's talk about H2S first of all. PEL, permissible exposure limit of H2S, while the cold work is going on, you're going to perform. Yes, please. Okay, so the Aramco and OSHA regulations, what they define is if oxygen is below 19.5%, we can't allow workers to work without SCABA. 19.5%. But as per Saudi Aramco is 20%. I'm talking about oxygen. But upper exposure limit is kind of like, not ULE, basically for oxygen only, 23.5%. Above than that, no entry, no work is allowed in a confined space. Now, if we talk about H2S, below 10 ppm, the regulation says it's allowed for 8 hours, but the hot work shouldn't be there. If it is a hot work, LEL have to be 0%, and LEL 0% can never be ensured if those toxic elements are available in the air. Now, if we talk about H2S below 10 ppm and 10 ppm to 20 ppm, surely we need to use SCABA or SABA, or but again some special permissions are required. But above than 20 ppm, no entry, no work, we have to come out. And because IDLH of H2S, even though it's 100 ppm, but at 20 ppm or above, we don't allow workers to go inside, even if some cold work is there. And if it is carbon monoxide below 35 ppm, we can allow them to work for 8 hours without SCABA. But 35 ppm up to 1000 ppm, if still we made them bound to work, then without SCABA is not allowed, and special permissions again required. But 1000 ppm to onward, no entry, no work actually of carbon monoxide, if that level is there. Now let's talk about LEL. First of all, this is clear understanding that above 0% LEL, no hot work. Above 0% LEL, not at all we can do any hot work. But if it is a cold work, below 5% LEL, below 5% LEL in the confined space, we can do cold work without SCABA. Below 5% LEL, but 5% to 10% LEL, surely we need SCABA, and special permissions again we need to get. And 10% or above, no entry, no work. So this is kind of OSHA Aramco collaborative regulations, for confined spaces. And now, still, like in your case, because you are like chemical industry, so of course your biggest concern would be LEL, that you will definitely try to ensure 0% LEL, especially in confined spaces. Either it's a hot work or it's a cold work. That could be the best strategy, I would say, of Sadara, again leading by example, Marshall. Otherwise, I shared with you some RAMQ and OSHA regulations. Now let's see how NIBOSH is guiding us. Around the world, there are different occupational exposure limits for hazardous substances because there is no global standard actually. But in the UK, they are called workplace exposure limits, WELS, and they set a maximum limit of exposure that can't be exceeded over a given time period. WELS have legal status under the COSH regulations. Now, what is WEL? The maximum concentration of airborne substance average over a conference period in which employees may be exposed by inhalation. Look at the short-term and the long-term limits. Like short-term exposure limits, we call it STALs also. Time period is 15 minutes. Reasons for limit: combat acute effects, very high exposure for a short time. So if high concentration is there, you reduce the exposure time. Otherwise, long-term exposure time is LTELS. That means 8 hours. Combat chronic effects, lower exposure over longer period. So short-term and long-term exposure limits are there. What is the purpose of a TWA, like time weighted average? A worker might be exposed to different levels of hazardous substances. And sometimes I encourage the companies keep a record of TWA or kind of TLV record of each employee, especially who are working in toxic environment. So create a history of each employee. How many hours he been working in toxic environment? What was the H2S level, or the other, or any, just the history. Because if anything happens, God forbid, surely that history will help, especially to the doctors, to evaluate how that person could be working and how long he's been working in toxic environment. Like if someone is doing work in coal industry or mining industry, or even in oil and gas, but mostly performing work in confined spaces, we surely need to build up a history how long, how many hours you've been working in that toxic environment. And accordingly, it will help. That is why, as per OSHA regulations, you need to keep the medical history, or the medical history of a gentleman for 30 years. Why such a long period, like 30 years medical history you need to maintain, so that you can have a fully understanding, when he was affected because of H2S, when he was having issues because of some natural disease or whatsoever. But that history will help further, to support that gentleman in case of sudden collapse, actually. Now, the styles prevent them being exposed to harmful levels of substances over a short period of time, where this word cause acute effects. LTL prevents them being exposed to harmful levels over the full working day, where this would cause chronic effects. Now, limitations of exposure limits, being below a limit does not prove it is safe, actually. Like if we say below 10 ppm, you are allowed to work in express environment for 8 hours without scabber. It does not mean that it is 100% safe. Only concerned with inhalation, no account of individual sensitivity or susceptibility, no account of synergistic or combined effects, invalid of normal environmental condition change. Some limits do not consider all possible health effects of a substance. And I'm sure if you have a separate procedure for work permit system for each segment, like hot work permit, how you're going to get it, what are the requirements, and if you have your procedure for gas testing, even within that, surely you would have highlighted the permissible exposure limits, or even short term and long term. So you can double check which international standard you have benchmarked to develop those procedures. No, invalid if normal environmental condition change, and some limits do not consider all possible health effects of a substance. Some limits do not consider all possible health effects of a substance. Now, there are some international standards, even though there is no global standards, but some international standards like UK workplace exposure limit is there. Indicative limit values from Europe we get, and from USA we get clearly limits from ACG IH, like American Conference of Governmental Industrial Hygienists. We have NIOSH. They also help us to, it's an Institute for Occupational Health and Safety, recommended exposure limits. And also we have the American Industrial Hygiene Association, AIHA, which have developed workplace exposure limits, wheels, and we also have OSHA, the Occupational Health and Safety Administration, which enforces Department of Labor permissible exposure, like PELS, permissible exposure limits, even though there is no global standard. So that was all about the exposure limits. So we have to be very straightforward. What are the exposure limit? And it must be part of our work permit system. Like if you have a work permit, the exposure limits for each toxic gases as per the nature of your industry must be highlighted. Otherwise, no compromise on oxygen level. The this hydrogen sulfide like H2S, and of course LEN, as well as carbon monoxide.